Thank you. And secondly, since our last meeting, the Milford community was saddened to learn of the passing of our director of the senior center, Ruth Ann Bleakney. She was a wonderful woman, just a great advocate and friend of the seniors of this community, and she will be missed. So I'd like to have a moment of silence in recognition of Ruth Ann also, please. Thank you. And we'll move on with the business of the meeting. The first item that we have is the signing of the warrant.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. We have meeting minutes for April 8th, 2013.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Just like to recommend a minor change. Item number 25. Suggestion is we strike the number 25 next to item number 25, as it's actually a subset of item 24, and just renumber the remaining items of the minutes. Otherwise, it would sit out there without context.
Is there a second?
Yep.
Okay, motion made and seconded to amend the minutes by consolidating number 25 with number 24 and then renumbering the remaining paragraphs. All those in favor? Any opposed? That too is unanimous. Citizen participation, is there anyone not on the agenda who would like to address the board? Okay, hearing nothing. We will move on to our public hearings and scheduled appointments. The first one is the Central 31 Realty LLC. And while everyone works their way up here to the front row, I'll read the notice of public hearing. The Board of Selectmen hereby gives notice that it has received an application from Central 31 Realty LLC, 31 Central Street, Milford, to transfer an existing restaurant all-alcoholic license to Dulang Enterprises, Inc., DBA Central Tavern. The corporation names Paul A. Accavelli, President Director, Alfred P. Paghetti, Treasurer Secretary, and seeks to name Alfred P. Paghetti as manager. The premises located at 31 Central Street consists of 3 rooms on the first floor of a 1-story building with 2 front entrances and a basement for storage. Pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 138, the Board of Selectmen will conduct a public hearing on Monday, April 22nd, 2013 at 7 p.m. in Room 3. We have the petition for the transfer of ownership, the existing being Central 31 Realty LLC, Ronald A. Pagnini, manager, Ronald A. Pagnini Jr., Revocable Living Trust member, Luann Malnati, member, Jane Moynihan, member, and the transferee, Dulang Enterprises, Inc., Paul A. Accavelli, President, Director, and Stockholder, Alfred P. Paghetti, Treasurer, Secretary, and Stockholder. We also have the application for the retail alcoholic beverage license, which is completed by the transferee for the ABCC. In addition, we have our town department informational sheet with the building commissioner stating that the building and restrooms are accessible. The town planner has given his okay. The tax collector indicates there are outstanding taxes for FY13 personal property taxes, second, third, and fourth quarters. All bills have been mailed to Louis Chesky, 143 Central Street. I assume that's for the prior owner. The town treasurer indicates there are no outstanding tax liens. The fire chief has no objections, although a fire inspection is required prior to opening for business. The police chief has no issues or concerns, and the Board of Health states that it needs to file the appropriate application. So with that, Attorney David Bertnazzi is here, and David, I'll turn it over to you.
Mr. Chairman, gentlemen, good evening. I'm here on behalf of Dulang Enterprises. With me are Dulang's principals, Paul Accavelli and Alfred Paghetti. By way of introduction, Mr. Paghetti is a member of the Milford Fire Department. He's been a firefighter for 31 years. He's set to retire next year, and he's looking to move on to the next phase of his professional life. Mr. Accavelli has been in the restaurant bar business for approximately 7.5 years. He owns and manages Cappy's Pub. Cappy's Pub is a restaurant pub business in Uxbridge, Massachusetts. And together, they'd like to open a restaurant bar business at 31 Central Street. And to that end, they're seeking a transfer of the all-alcoholic beverages license that is held by the owner of those premises, Central Central Street Central Street LLC. Its principal, Ronald Pagnini, is also here. By way of orientation, I'm sure you're all familiar with the premises, 31 Central Street. It's about 100 feet down the hill on the right-hand side. It has a long history of being the site of restaurants and bars in town. The Brass Rail was there. I remember a Chinese restaurant when I was a kid. More recently,
I think you remember more than that.
More recently, it's been Fat Boy Bill's and the Nightlight Lounge. There's about 3,600 square feet of space. There are 2 entrances and 3 exits. As you come down the hill on the corner, there's an entranceway that has handles on both sides of the door. Further down the street, there's another entranceway, but there's no handles on the outside, can only be accessed from the inside. And then down the alleyway, there is another entranceway, also can only be opened from the inside, and that exits directly into the kitchen. It's basically a turnkey operation for my clients. I think 2 owners ago, they did quite a bit of renovations on the property. There's a new bar in there and things like that. So from their perspective, they don't need to invest a significant sum of money to get started, which obviously is a good thing for these types of businesses. There's a full kitchen. There's a small stage and dancing area, although some of that dancing area may be used for tables, once they get in there and get a better feel for things. There are separate men's and women's facilities to the back of the building. There's also a handicap accessible facility to the front of the building near the front entranceway. They want to operate the business as Central Tavern. Initially, the plan would be to do lunch and dinners. Initially soups and sandwiches, although I think they intend to expand on that once they get in there and they get a better feel for things. Their hope is to be open Monday through Thursday, 11 to 1, Friday, 11 to 2, Saturday, 11 to 1, and on Sundays from 12 to 1. They hope to have entertainment, DJ predominantly, although some live acts, and that's another thing that they may expand or not expand on, depending on how on the business needs and how things operate. The plan is to have all bartenders alcohol serve and crowd control certified. Plans are already underway to train all staff in anti-choking, and once they're staffed and they have their schedule out, they'll take more steps to deal with training in food protection and in other matters. I noted that the Board of Health, the Board of Health noted that they had not received some paperwork. We did file that after filing the application and after they commented. Their paperwork, you need to have a better idea of exactly what you're doing before you can complete that, and we intend to follow up with them and update them once we have a better idea of what's going to be there for staff and for hours.
You mentioned entertainment, but we don't have an entertainment license before us.
I think I filed one. Transfer of entertainment license was filed with the transfer of viculars.
Okay, because I just have the all alcohol
Yeah,
license.
no, there is an entertainment.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
There's the local form, transfer of the victualer's license and the transfer of the entertainment license.
Okay, so I don't have those, so the
I can-
motion's going to have to include all 3.
Yeah.
You've got the common vic, you've got the entertainment, and also the all alcohol.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
And if Mr. Valani doesn't have them, I can supply you
We do
copies
have
before I
them in
go.
the file.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, good, thank you. Let me turn over the board. Dean?
Attorney Bertinazzi, nice job of the summarization. I don't know Mr. Accavelli, but certainly know Mr. Pagnini and Mr. Spaghetti, good people, good character and integrity. I'm sure they'll do a good job. So just hope for the best, do it right, and you'll be very successful, and you'll be there for 30 years, right? Gonna have someone playing the accordion, right, Ronnie?
Cordine.
Yeah, accordion. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Bill?
I don't have any questions. I think it's all laid out before us. I think it's been reviewed by various department heads, police and fire, and tax, so the individuals are known to us, so just want to wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good luck. It's a great location. As David indicated, it has a storied past, so we wish you the best. You know, we want to see success, not only in that area, but really throughout the town. So if there's anything that, you know, you think you need or whatever, don't hesitate to contact our office or any of the town offices. So just to be clear, again, we have this restaurant all alcohol, but we also have an entertainment license and we have a common victular.
That's correct.
Okay, so is there a motion?
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made and seconded, transfer of all three, correct?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second, any further discussion? If not, before I take a vote, this is a
Hearing, yeah.
public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment or question on this application? Hearing nothing, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Oh,
may,
yeah.
you also need to vote to pledge the license to Central 31 Realty LLC, I believe.
That's
David.
correct. There
Oh, you have
is,
a pledge
yeah,
too.
that's
Yeah.
marked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, motion made
I'll second.
and seconded. Any further discussion on that? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That too is unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Good,
Good
yeah,
luck.
take care,
Thank you,
bye-bye.
gentlemen. And our next appointment is with our town treasurer, Barbara Oja. Barbara, come on up. Welcome.
Good evening.
Oh, Barbara.
And Barbara sent us a follow-up memo on the flexible spending account, which was from her February 20th memo that we addressed at our meeting on February 25th. So with that, Barbara, take it away.
Yes, and at that meeting of February 25th, when I was before the board, I had indicated that the Insurance Advisory Committee for the town is very interested in expanding the flexible spending program to more employees. So I was asked by the board to look into what was reasonable as a town. And so the first thing I guess I'd like the board to consider is limiting the program to employees who work 35 hours or more. That would limit the town's risk, and the risk comes from when somebody signs up for the program and doesn't make all their contributions, but the funds are available on day one of the program. They spend all of their benefit, and we haven't been able to collect our contributions because they've left employment or, for some other reason. That, is a real risk, which will be offset by the opposite when someone decides they're going to contribute, say $1,000, but they can only spend $900, then that extra $100 stays with the town. So it's a net risk, but we've had some teachers that were employed in this program for a year. It's run very smoothly. We're not incurring a risk. We don't have the last bills in yet at this time for the month of April, but so far through the March end, there is no risk that the town or the teachers union in that case would assume. So hopefully, if we are able to provide it to our more permanent employees, and that's what this limitation was geared to apply this benefit to our more permanent employees. We don't see the amount of change in employees that work 35 to 40 hours as we do in our part-timer employees or even the 30-hour employees. We've seen an awful lot of change at the school department in the teacher aide area this year. So we're trying to limit risk associated with that. The second area has to do with staffing. I think an extra 15 hours of staff, 15 hours in the financial departments will accommodate a lot of the extra work, not just from this program, but from other things that have happened. I tried, in the last page is a summary of all the tasks that occur in the financial departments, and I worked with our town accountant, Zach, put this chart together, and basically, the area that is new and where the 15 hours person would reside would be in the accountant's office. And that 15 hours, they would report to me, but physically be located there because he has a part-time employee now that leaves at 1 o'clock. So we figure one leaves, another one comes in and can work the 15 hours, and we have a station. There's just physically no space in my office for to accommodate an additional person. So everything below the line under that column, that middle column under the accountant's department, is currently things that are happening in my office, and those tasks are shared between the payroll clerk and the assistant town treasurer today. And so those are the things that we thought we could carve off and then put into this new position. Additionally, it's interesting to know that right now, we don't have any backup for payroll, so if Janet is out of the office, actually I'm the one that's sitting down and doing all the data entry and processing the payroll, so we really need to have a backup there, and so these people would work in concert with each other, and they'd be cross-trained, and that way, if the person in the town accountant's out, then the person in my office could do those tasks related to the time in attendance, because she'd be cross-trained in that area, and then in my office, they could, do the time entry and stuff. And of course, myself and Kelly, who are trained in the payroll, could help with all the processing and the back-end stuff. But that's really what we're trying to do. So that's a little bit of a justification for that 15-hour job. Zach did a little cost analysis today and told me that we'd need to increase the budget $19,000, sorry, not $19,000 to accommodate those 15 hours. And the last thing, I guess I covered that too, which the last bullet had to do with the reorganization and cross-training. And Zach and I both met with Rick to go through that and how it would fit in the area, and how we would cross-train and eventually work things out going forward. So the effective date, we were thinking that if we could implement this with the new budget year, July 1st, we could hold a special open enrollment where the program would be available for our employees 35 to 40 hours, and we would have them enroll by July 1st. We would do deductions over 10 months, but it would be for the 12-month period. So anything that they've incurred from May 1st to June 30th, they could submit to be reimbursed from the flexible spending account. And so it would be, contributions over 10, but the enrollment period would be 12. And then, of course, it would renew every year on May 1st. So I hope that is what the board was looking for. And if you have any questions, I'm here.
Yeah, no, that's great, Barbara, thank you. And, I was looking over the memo that you gave us in February, and, just thought of all the benefits of this flexible spending account. And, I know that we were anxious to try to get this in place for the employees, so I appreciate the quick work you did on putting this together. Let me turn it over to the board. Dean?
Yeah, no, Mr. Chairman, I agree. When Barbara came in a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was, a month ago, the program is, I think, would be very good, very beneficial for the employees. A lot of places have this now, and Barbara said that she would go back and obtain the information she has, and I agree with everything. And $19 as well, $19,000 for an extra amount of money is well worth it, and it would take effect July 1st. So I think it'll give everybody plenty of time to work together, and so I think it'll be a good program for Milford.
Okay, Bill?
Yeah, conceptually, I don't have any concerns other than, you identified a source of funding for this?
It would be an appropriation in the FY 14 budget.
So
It would be-
have you submitted your budget already?
I have, and based on this evening's vote, I can go in tomorrow morning and have Zach revise it. Zach has already notified the Finance Committee that this is potentially coming down based on this evening's vote. And so he's aware, Mark Shane's aware anyways, that this is a potential change that is coming forward. So, you know, my budget was below the 2%. This is going to put me over the 2% guideline, and we'll have to, you know, with the support of the board, have to work that through the Finance Committee to see if there's ample funds to accommodate that.
Just a matter of process, does this addition require a vote of the Board of Selectmen? Additional headcount?
The FSA does. The FSA,
I understand.
yeah, that would require.
I'm just trying to parse the two issues. Right?
Well, I would ask that, you know, if you want me to take on the additional responsibility, that you'd also support me in the efforts to the Finance Committee, but I don't think you necessarily have to vote on accepting the budget.
Yeah, and the reason why I ask it, because just as a matter of practice and process, we've not yet gone through all the line items and prioritized those for FY '14, right? So
Yes.
this would, I just want to make sure I don't have a process or a precedent where this makes this, by virtue of the first vote, the single most important one line item of that FY '14 budget, right? Because we've not supported any line item of any budget yet, right? And so I don't have, I've been supportive of the flexible spending account. I think that it's just, I guess, from a standpoint of head count and appropriation, it's a matter of the Treasurer's Department. You can look for support from a lot of different groups, a lot of different boards, and a lot of different people, but it's one for you to champion and articulate through the budget process, in addition to your other priorities, right? Because there are other things within your budget that folks might have a question about financially, and on balance, you've got to support it all and determine priorities.
Right. And I certainly will be championing that at the Finance Committee, but, you know, I think it's better to go in and say that I have the confidence of the Board of Selectmen to help support this budget. And I think that goes a little bit further with the Finance Committee than just me coming in singularly. So that's, you know, I mean, that's really what I'm here for, is to ask for the vote of confidence of the Board of Selectmen that this is the appropriate thing to do for, you know, employees and move forward.
Sure, and I'm just saying, as a matter of practice, it's not as if the Highway Department comes in and looks for a vote of confidence for their FY '14 budget, although they do a very critical role in making sure the roads are clean and patched and all of that. It's not an individual by department, thing to come and look for Board of Selectmen. I don't have any challenges or issues or concerns associated with the flexible spending account. I'm strongly in favor of that. I guess the thing that helped me, I would have walked in with two things. One, do we need to support this with respect to a vote? And the second thing I didn't have until you just mentioned it is I didn't have a cost analysis. And so, maybe that's just something we have to formalize when folks come looking for headcount, that we have, in addition to what you provided in terms of the verbiage that says what the new work is and how it'll be allotted and what other types of work there is. Maybe we can look at a process for saying how people add heads and what that cost analysis is, so we know what we're approving. Because we actually have that case in another discussion later, right?
Yes, we do.
Where we have a proposal in front of us and we're just not sure of what we'd be approving in terms of dollars. And I'm generally not comfortable with that.
Yeah, and just to be clear here, it is just the $19,000 that this is a non-benefited position. So it wouldn't be eligible for the flex spending account or health insurance or dental insurance or anything like that. So this would purely be, the $19,000 cost here.
There is a pension associated with 19, or is there?
No, nothing that.
No pension?
No, it has to be, it's 20 hours or more.
20, okay, that's where the line is.
That's
okay.
why,
All right,
that's why we kept it below
All right.
the 20.
so it's helpful to know, what you're asking for support for. Appreciate you giving us the verbal update on the $19,000
Right.
there. Okay, I don't have any more questions.
So you
So-
need a vote from us to endorse the flexible spending account.
I do.
Okay. And when you last left us on February 25th, we asked you to go forward and come forth and tell us what you're going to need to implement this and make
Yes.
it a success for the employees.
Right.
So.
And that's the question that I was answering this evening,
Right,
so.
I understand.
And we
mean,
know,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm hoping the support goes hand in
Yeah.
hand,
Absolutely,
yeah.
yeah. I'll be at the FinCom with you. Don't worry about that. I'll be there, you know.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
So motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, and the motion is to ask for the establishment of the FSA, Barbara?
Yes,
Of the FSA account.
At a level of 35 hours per week,
yes,
35 and above.
according to these
According to the memo.
limitations
Yeah,
here.
okay.
So
The memo
it-
also has the restrictions on the FSA as well as the resources
Is
necessary.
resources necessary, correct, so according to this recommendation,
Okay.
yeah.
So motion made in accordance with the memo of the town treasurer. And that second?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous.
Okay, great, thank you,
Barbara,
guys.
thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you, Barbara.
Okay, our next appointment is with our good friend Paul Minor, and we have Sydney and Jen and other representatives from the Youth Commission. Come on up, and while you're getting situated, I'll be pleased to announce that from an anonymous donor who wishes to remain anonymous, the Milford Youth Center has received a very generous donation specifically for after-school and summer camp programs in the amount of $25,000. So that's wonderful. Great work.
Great.
Yeah, you can applaud, sure, take a bow. I really think it's a tribute to the work that you do every day there. You know, people quietly and some not so quietly are realizing that, and they're rallying behind it and they're supporting it. So you're doing a great thing for the town of Milford, and I think this just reinforces that. So before we go further, we need to have a motion to
Motion,
accept
Mr.
this
Chairman.
gift. Motion made, is there a second?
There is, and I'd also like to say, like to make sure we acknowledge Chief Tom O'Loughlin's role in helping to get this, so I'd be happy to second this.
Motion made and seconded. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Sydney?
This question.
Yeah.
We like to put this into a gift account, if possible.
Yeah, I know, and I think Zach's working with you on that.
Right.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense to do that. Yeah, and the only, like any gift, it can only be used for the purposes of the donation.
Yes,
So that's great, that makes sense.
thank you.
So, can you top that, Paul?
I don't know, it's awful hard.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you guys. You all look, you guys look pretty good. Not bad.
You don't have your glasses on, do you?
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Paul, it's the Milford water, good
It's the
water.
Milford water. Chlorination
Cures
is great.
everything.
That cures everything. On that donation, by the way, if that donor wants a tax write-off, he needs to go through our 501c3, so you should talk to me about that. So if that's what he wants, or they want, then we have to bring it through our fiduciary, and then we write a check to the town, okay, so they get their tax deductibility.
Okay, who has the actual check?
You guys at the town.
It's
Town account.
deposited with,
Yes, it has.
Well, if it's already been made out to the town, then it would be a moot point. But if it hasn't been, and he wants it, because the town's not a 501c3,
Right,
so he
right.
would not be able to claim it as a tax donation. That's why we're the fiduciary. So if you need, if that helps for this fellow or this person, just let me know and we'll take care of it.
all right,
Okay.
thank you.
I just wanted to come before you for a couple of reasons. Number one, I missed you guys terribly, but secondly was I wanted to just clarify the parameters of our relationship moving forward in support of the Milford Youth Center. I just wanted to be updated in an official capacity, because you guys are the source of the officialness in this community, as to what the direction is, or the likely direction is for the future of the building and the town's support. We're looking at a new funding cycle for United Way with all of our agencies. This is every 3 years we do this, and it's part of my due diligence to make sure that I know where that's going. Also, to be clear that what each role is. We've been the fiduciary for the youth center for all nonprofit contributions. We've done the financial oversight of the nonprofit piece, in addition to funding the program to a large degree. You guys have been funding a position there, and also now I'm so happy that you guys have picked up the utilities. Congratulations, and thank you for doing that. I'm very happy that you've done that. That's a big deal. If you remember when we started this, that was a long haul, so. And now I understand that you're looking at the potential to do some kind of repair with this building, which really, at the end of the day, is a great investment in my professional opinion, given the number of kids that utilize the facility. But one of the things that I'd like to talk about, and I'll do this very briefly, I know you have a busy agenda. It concerns me, and I've talked to these guys. By the way, these two guys do an absolutely fantastic job. This is like Batman and Robin over here, and really, they care about what they do, and they're really swamped, and they do a great job, and I just want you to know that we know that at United Way, and I know that you know that too, but I just wanted to say that publicly, that they're both fine Americans. But moving forward, we have some serious concerns about the growth of the program and, proper supervision levels. And we have right now, we're looking at we're doing a feasibility study for sustainability that we're working with these guys on to talk about long-term stability. And they do a great job with volunteers and the augmenting that they do with personnel. But as this program grows, there's a staffing issue that is going to have to come up to speed at some point. And it's one of those things where, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But you've been very fortunate that these guys are very committed and they work so hard, and you've got volunteers that are committed as well. But over time, with the kind of numbers that you've got going into that facility, we have to think about some other kinds of sustainable income for this organization, this program. And this is really a program of the town. It's not a nonprofit really. It's a municipal program that you guys have done a fantastic job in supporting, and I wish other communities would do as you have done here, because it's so important for the kids and that can't afford to do other things in this community. But down the road, as this program grows, I just want to make you mindful of the fact that we need together, us United Way, you, the town, and the Youth Commission, are going to need to look at this very carefully as to how we grow in a way that's appropriate from a staffing perspective. There are ratios that need to be looked at, and things that we all want to happen to make sure that building is not just physically sound, but that your programs are growing in a way that is professionally appropriate for the safety of kids and for the assuredness in this day that you need to have with the proper adult-to-child ratio. So you've been lucky so far because you've got a lot of volunteers and very committed employees, but that won't last forever. And I just want to make you aware of that. So we're going to have to look at that and talk about how we grow this together over the next 5 or 6 years. So I just wanted to say that. And also, once we get through this, well, I know you probably don't want to, especially after your comments a minute ago, you probably don't want to talk about things that may happen or could happen in a future vote. But what is your feeling vis-a-vis the future of the renovations of the center? Do you think that this is something that is likely to happen? What is your feeling about the direction? Just your personal opinions.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
No, that's fine, Paul, and all of your points are certainly well taken and very relevant and I think very accurate. In terms of the facility itself, as you well know, it's well past the time for repairs. So right now, we have an article sponsored at the upcoming May 20th town meeting seeking funds to hire an architect to commence with plans for renovation in accordance with the feasibility study. We went before the Finance Committee. We received a favorable recommendation from them, And, personally, I'm very optimistic going to the town meeting. Milford traditionally, we take care of our buildings. The townspeople, I think, are very conscientious if the need is there and they see that the building serves a very legitimate and useful function to the town. The people have supported that. So I'm very hopeful and very optimistic that we will, get that approval at the upcoming town meeting. And then, the Armory Renovation Committee will come forth and, go design a selection and, try to pick an architect and put the plans down. It would be an aggressive schedule, but my goal would be to have plans for the fall town meeting, so then we could look for funding for the eventual the actual physical construction. I've had conversation with the town treasurer, the town accountant. We really feel that we can fit the funding within the town situation right now very comfortably. So, I think the wild card, would be how fast that architect could come up with some plans. Because there are some aspects of the building that are kind of scary. When they start taking down walls and ceilings, we're not gonna know how involved it really is. But that
Unique building.
It is. And, it's great to note that the town received that from the state back in '06, literally for nothing. And up until this point, the town has not invested a whole lot of dough in that building. The Youth Commission on their own have gone forth, they've gotten donations, they've renovated it, piece by piece, and I think have done a great job. But right now, the job is just too overwhelming, because you're talking building envelope, handicap accessibility, and of course, you're building fire code issues, all of which we would look to take care of. So that's, I guess, my take on the immediacy of where we're at. Towards your point, I would think that, assuming we are successful in that process, then we'd be looking for a construction, a renovation into next year, probably staggered in time to coordinate with the activities that they can put forth. But as any renovation project, it would be a time of transition.
Sure.
So, I don't know what kind of programs they'll be able to run or not run, but ideally, the physical plan also carries a programmatic plan long-term. So I think that goes in with your discussion in terms of proper staffing for the programs they're looking to put forward.
One of the things that I was thinking about, thank you very much for being so candid. You guys are always easy to deal with. I appreciate that.
What is that word you said about 10 minutes ago?
Easy to deal with.
Official something?
The official, you're the official word of everything.
Officialness.
Oh,
Officialness.
officialness. Gene, write that down, okay?
Officialness. One of the things that, I was thinking about, and we might consider this, is that once a determination has been made vis-à-vis the building, and you've got a direction of your generous town meeting folks are, supportive, and I hope they are. They've always been wonderful. Then I would think that it might be a time for us to sit down and talk about maybe a fund drive in the community that we could do as a nonprofit piece together with you to help to create some kind of a working capital for the youth center to be able to have. Right now it's very difficult to do this, and if we could do this in a way that is in conjunction with the renovation, people love to see brick and mortar work being done. They can see it, they can feel it, they can touch it. And it might be something that we could work together on to have some kind of a drive. People in town, or maybe buy a brick or something that their family name can go on, so that it could be memorialized in the building, and then raise some funds so that we could create a fund that could help support this work down the road, so the programmatic pieces of this don't get lost in the fact that you've got a beautiful new building, hopefully, but what do we do to fund it, to support it, to keep it running?
And that's perfectly appropriate, and it's a great idea. And in fact, the model, that we've used, we did that at the senior center.
Yeah, I remember.
So, that was a $3.5 million
Yep.
construction project. But the Friends, which is a 501c3, also did what you're speaking of,
Right.
and raised, I want to say, upwards of $160,000
Yep.
for furnishings, fixtures, and equipment.
Right.
And that's basically how we outfitted the building.
Sure.
you know? So, I mean, it's
That's
the
exactly
same-
what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the same type of model that we'll need to have.
Well, I look forward to having that discussion with you when the time is right, and, we're willing to work with you to be your partner in that, and we can help move that forward. And, that's another thing that we can talk about too, down the road. What I'll do is, if it's okay with you, I'll put together a little summary of thoughts and send it to you, and then you can look at it, and you can let me know what you think.
That'd be
I
great.
don't want to take up your time now, but.
Oh, that's fine.
And, the last thing is, we had made a commitment about a year and a half ago to give an additional $30,000 to the town if certain benchmarks were made relative to the youth center. And after listening to you tonight, I'm satisfied that we're moving in the right direction. So before June, we'll be releasing that money to you.
Oh, that'd be
Okay?
great.
And
Appreciate all the support.
So in your
United Way.
officialness of representing the,
yeah, well, that and $1.50 will get you a cup of coffee, but that doesn't matter. You guys are really official. I'm just,
Well, 10 years ago, Paul, when I first met you, the youth center was in serious jeopardy of simply folding and going away. And it was you and the United Way stepping forward and willing to be a joint partner and a real participant that has allowed the center to really evolve into the true part of the community that it is now. So, without the United Way, we would not have a youth center in the town of Milford. There's no question in my mind.
you guys are very easy to deal with, and you guys, your word is important to you, and it's important to us because we trust each other, and this is a good relationship. We're very happy to partner with you, and we're very happy to further the work. And let's hope that the town meeting approves the
Yeah.
warrant, and, and we can go forward and do some
Step.
things.
And that's the next step. I mean, the building clearly needs major renovation, and I think when you look and start with the roof, it leads to, other things,
Right.
and that leads to other things, and it's just time to really bring that building up to the same level of quality that all of our other town buildings are at.
Well, and you run a good town here. I mean, it's fiscally sound, and,
thank
there aren't too many towns that I go to where people can say that they have the wherewithal to be able to look at things like this. So, I applaud you for that, and thanks for having me tonight. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll be in touch, Paul. Like I said, the next step is the town meeting, and hopefully, we'll be successful, and then we can go forward from there.
That's great. Have a good night, guys.
Good.
Thanks, Paul. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye-bye.
Good to see you.
Bye-bye.
Nice to see you. Okay, that concludes the hearings and appointments. The next thing that we have is the town administrator's report. Rick?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a few things briefly. Another update on the town hall windows. The plans, the specs, and the bid documents are complete. Publication in the Central Register will be April 24th. Contractor's pre-bid inspection of the premises will be May 8th. There'll be minimal interruption to Town Hall. Charlie Scaff will just escort interested bidders on a walkthrough. Bid openings, will be on May 22nd. As you know, we did have a financial team meeting last Friday, April 19th, present with the town treasurer, town accountant, town council, yourself, and myself. We reviewed the articles for the May 20 town meeting as well as funding sources, and all team members are in agreement on the funding sources. An update on the traffic lights, I think you might know, on Water Street and Route 140. They have been installed. Right now, they're flashing. There's a period of time where they want to give the public time to adjust to recognize that they're there, and it should be fully operational by May 5th. And then a final item, I met this morning with the fire chief, police lieutenant, town engineer, highway surveyor, and director of sewer operations. We met with representatives of R.H. White Company. They have made a request to perform work on Birch Street to install a sewer line and sewer main for the new assisted living facility. There were some concerns by the fire chief especially as to whether or not access would be impeded. A plan was developed with all parties involved to safely handle the flow of traffic while ensuring the fire department will be able to respond when needed during the ongoing work. The work could begin as early as this Wednesday, April 24th. It's expected to last about 5 days. But again, all parties are happy with the resolution that was worked out, but just be advised that there will be some interruption there on Birch Street. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Questions, comment, Dean?
No, thank you, Rick.
Bill?
Yeah, just one point, I wasn't sure I was clear on the Birch Street assisted living facility. You said you had conversations with the water company
not-
related to sewer lines?
No, not the water company. John Mainini was there from the sewer department.
Okay, so for
There's-
water and sewer?
Correct,
Okay.
yes. Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And a successful plan was developed, and everybody seems satisfied that there'll be minimal interruption.
Okay.
All set?
Thank you, yes.
Yeah.
No, nothing else.
Okay, moving on to old business. Rick gave us a summary on the technology assessment. So, Rick, why don't you kind of summarize your memo for us?
Sure. I was asked to review the situation of technology. I started by reviewing reports from the current IT director, Leonard Beaudry. I also reviewed reports from the prior IT director, Robert Bunnell. When one looks at those reports, they are conflicting. I don't know how you can not see that. So that was the first issue. I then decided to speak with department heads. They had concerns. I'm not going to go over all of them, but they're listed, but main ones were outdated equipment, prevalent viruses, lack of speed, concern about backup, and concern about staffing. I also met on 2 occasions with School Superintendent Mr. Tremblay. He is also concerned as to the technology as it affects the school system. In defense of Mr. Beaudry, at this time, he did put forth a 5-year plan, and most of the department heads did agree that he simply is understaffed. That is a key problem. Because of this and because of my review, I would recommend to the board to consider appointing a task force, a committee, to do an in-depth review of our current technology, including infrastructure. We need to develop a strategy to prioritize projects and a sound, comprehensive 5-year plan. I did some preliminary research on the types of assessments that could be done from a basic level to a more full range or detailed level. The detailed level would be involving testing hardware, software, speaking with department heads, employees, doing surveys, evaluating the 5-year plan, and then making recommendations. The conclusion I have is that we need to do something concerning technology as quickly as we can. I know it's been talked about, but there are some real concerns. I think the current plan needs to be evaluated, needs to be thoroughly vetted, so that we can make sure that we have a sound technology plan, both for the town departments and the school system. And that's why I made the recommendation that I did make to proceed further. That's kind of a summary of the report itself.
Okay, thank you. Let me turn over the board. Dean?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chairman. No, nice job, Rick. We've been looking at this for a long time, and I think whenever you do something like this, even the last committee that was formed a few years ago came up with recommendations everybody was in favor of. And so, but things change quickly. I think one thing that stands out, it's glaring, is that the individual, Mr. Beaudry, definitely needs a couple of people to assist him. Whomever is there, I think you need
No
staffing.
question.
There's no question. He can't do everything himself, and I think everyone agrees with that. I think the committee that you're recommending is, I think, very sound. I just think it's the, trying to get the right people on there. It would be nice, maybe 1 or 2 people from the community who have tremendous expertise in that area. There are a lot of people making a lot of money in this area, so I think we have to watch it. Everybody has an opinion, so, but I think the plan that you've put out is a very sound one. I think it's reasonable, Rick. And then I think you also, talk about down the road as far as a consultant, if we need assistance, then there's a way to do that too. But I would be in favor of your plan, and in the interim, hopefully you'll be able to get more definitive costs on exactly what the cost would be. And, hopefully something, if we have the right people and I think the right mission, goals, hopefully this could be achieved over, a 2-month period, And I know the committee, the finance committee in the past has been supportive of the additional personnel, because I think everyone realizes that we need that. But I agree 100% with your recommendations regarding IT for the future. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Bill?
Yeah, I'm generally in favor of the recommendation, Rick.
Yep.
We clearly need some help here. I just don't want to leave people confused or of the belief that it's purely understaffed. I'm of the opinion that based on the reports that I've read, that you could throw $5 million at staffing and we wouldn't solve the problems that we have in the technology department. It goes well beyond that. So I'm in favor of putting together a committee. What I'd like to see, just before we charter a committee, what I'd like to see by this board is, as part of that charter, a time frame and a budget. Because this committee is not going to get very far without engaging the help of outside consultants. So I think Mr. Valani alluded to if the need arises for outside consultants. And frankly, Brian, I think I'm at a position where you were at a couple of months ago after reading more reports. But I think it's incumbent upon us, if we're going to charter a committee, or if we're going to co-charter with the help of the school committee, who has funding over at least the single position, that we establish a time frame and we talk about funds. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to set a team up or a committee up for failure, in the sense that having you come back in February with a need for external resources. So what I'd like to see in this proposal is an understanding of the budget requirements and an understanding of the time frame of when we think we can get this done utilizing the resources of an external consultant. Because I know what I'm approving. I'm approving a concept in this document. But what I'm not approving is a time frame for which we'd have an output and a dollar amount for which we make sure you're set up for success. So the question is, are there funds available from the FinCom, the use of that budget? Is there something we can do in this town meeting, which I don't think we can? Because I don't want to go for funding in October. I think we'll have missed the boat and we'll wait too long to seek sources of funding if we wait until October. We're, one backup crash away. We're not supporting the needs of the system as it is today. And between now and October, we shouldn't be surprised if there's an issue before we can get to it. So I want to be able to get to it as fast as we can. And so I think I'm in agreement. What I just need is timeframes and dollars.
Well, what I'd like to do is take it one step at a time, because right now there's, I guess, a proposal to appoint a committee, which has been recommended to include the town administrator, superintendent of schools, a department head, a member of the finance committee, and a local individual with a technology background. So let's take that piece. Does that membership sound okay to you, Dean?
Yeah, and I think if, like I said, if there are a couple, there are a couple other people, we have the flexibility to go from 5 to 7.
Yes.
And that would be up to the administrator, but yeah, I'd be in favor of that.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Is
I'd
that-
certainly like to see the police chief as part of this, because we haven't rolled the police department into
Correct.
this.
Yep.
And I know you can go out and source information, but I'd like to see library involved as well. So if we could accommodate those, I know you said one department head, and that's not making insignificant the other, but those are big
Yes.
IT needs.
Yes, I have talked to both.
Public safety, I think Tom, Chief O'Laughlin can coordinate with police and fire, but I think library is certainly in need. I'm okay with chartering a committee.
Okay, because, yeah,
When will we expect them to come back? with-
well, that's, as soon as the committee can deliberate and come forward with some set ideas. So my thought would be to get the committee in place, allow them to deliberate. They have, some general guidance here, and then they can come back to us and say, look, we think we need to do this plan going forward or that plan going forward. And in terms of the funding, we can access funding because our portion of the municipal transfer to the school department doesn't incur till when, in the fall? Isn't that what Zach said?
I believe so,
So that's
yes.
about 30,000 plus. So, Zach was of the understanding that as of July 1, they could access funding. And then, that number can be
Backfilled in
backfilled at
October.
town meeting.
Yes, yeah.
For the
So
school
at least we wouldn't have to
department.
wait till
Right, so
Okay.
you don't have to
October.
wait.
That was kind of the consensus when I talked to Zach.
Yeah.
Well, then, let me
So-
ask it this
yeah.
way.
Yep.
Would it be, do you believe it's reasonable and possible, you've got the recommendation here, that you come back within 45 days with a recommendation from this committee? Do you think there's enough time to meet?
If we can get the committee established and deliberate, yeah, I think we could. It may be just that we need.
Because I'd like to set a target.
Yeah.
I really would.
It could be
And
45 days, it could be, whatever you've
Right.
accomplished in 45 days, you can come back with.
But that would be the goal. I agree with you.
so I'm in violent agreement with the need, right? I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to accelerate it, right?
I hear you,
Okay.
yes.
So, good job in the package. I just wanted to make sure this committee has some expectations and gives you what you need to be successful.
Thank you.
I'd target 45 days, get the committee together, and set that off in meeting number 1 as the goal.
Whether it's 45 or 60, as far as I'm concerned, I think that once you have the committee, the main thing is getting the right people on the committee
Yes.
and having the right goal and objectives. And then, after 2 or 3 meetings, you can keep the board updated. It may be sooner than 55 or 60 days, whatever.
Sure.
And if it takes longer, then that's what it is. But I think the main thing is to get it right. We've been talking about this for a long time. Get the right people. Everybody has agendas, but let's have agendas that take care of the town and the school, and then do it properly.
Yeah, and as part of those goals and agendas, usually there's a time frame. I've never been part of a project where it didn't have some deliverable and time frame expectation built into goals and deliverables. So I'm in agreement.
All right, so is there a motion to,
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
and what would you like to call the committee? The technology committee? What do you call it, the
Sure.
tech committee? Okay, so we will,
2013 Technology Committee.
yeah, that'd be- as soon as you appoint it, yeah. Okay, so, question is, be the town administrator, superintendent of schools, a department head, a member of the FinCom, and a local individual with technology background. Why don't we start with that, and then if at some point you think that additional members need to be appointed, you can just bring it to us at a meeting.
Okay.
And we can add members. Okay?
So we're not going to start off the police chief or library.
Well, do you want to name the police chief on here?
I would.
Okay.
Or
And-
police chief or designate.
Or designate, yeah.
Well, yeah, I would say designate for any of them. I
Yeah.
don't know if
Right.
the superintendent wants to,
Right,
you know.
if he's
he
got
might-
somebody who's got
Yeah.
more
So I think
understanding.
that's
I think he
okay.
wants to be involved.
Okay.
I really do.
And that's
Yeah,
fine.
I think he
I have
does.
no problem
Yeah.
with that.
And if we
That's
ha-
great.
If we have
Talking to
Susan or her designate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's get those
I
two.
think Susan wants to be involved, too.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And they're
But, I
big.
mean, a large burden of that is gonna be on Rick as the town administrator to make sure, the library and the police and this building are all, accommodated in terms of the technology.
Included, yeah.
So we're gonna add on the police chief and the library director?
Yes.
Okay? Okay.
Yes.
We'll do that. And, like I said, if you think that other people need to be named at any point, just let us know.
Okay.
But, let's get the committee set. Let's allow you folks to meet. The idea is to really come back and assess where we are right now with technology and, where we'd like to be, both in terms of hardware, software, and personnel. And I think the relationship between the municipal side and the school side is gonna be crucial. The model that we have right now, I don't know if that works. So that might have to change. So, okay, there's a motion to appoint the technology committee as stated. Is a second?
Second.
Seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, great. Well, thank you, Rick, for that work, and we'll look forward to see some more information. I asked Rick to just put the town meeting articles on this agenda. We have one more meeting. If you want to pull out any articles or discuss any, we can do it tonight, or we can do it at the May 6th meeting, whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I went over it today. I think we have 19 articles. There are probably 8 or 9 housekeeping articles that we do every year. Article 18 is the Armory. I think we're all in support of that. Article 19 is adult entertainment. We have 4 or 5 public ways. We have a dog control article, painting of the town hall. 27 is the 25,000 for the consultant for grant applications. The marijuana bylaw. 38, the sex offender, the handicap bylaw, and the last one is the solar. So I think we've been in favor of all those articles in the past. Those are the articles that I saw that we have, and also a couple that are outside, Mr. Chairman.
Why don't we, just a
was the,
suggestion, Mr. Chairman,
I just want to see, what was the handicap article?
42.
Oh, I'm sorry, oh, from the Commission on
Yeah.
Disability. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's keeping in line with the
I was
Commission
looking
on
under our
Disability.
spreadsheet. Bill?
yeah, just a suggestion, if we could maybe break this up, why don't we, if it's all right with the board, the pleasure of the board, vote to recommend favorable on the Board of Selectmen articles, the Armory articles, and the Commission on Disability, and then take up the rest at the next meeting.
Okay, motion made.
Second.
There's a second?
Second, yeah.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, great, and we can have that on the agenda for the next meeting also. Is there any old business, Dean?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would like Attorney Valani to write a letter to Scott Butera and CC Attorney Froelich. Now, at the last meeting, when we met upstairs, they said that they would have, they would start the process, they would engage engineers, environmental, traffic consultants, all the respective disciplines, and that's great. So I think that we should write to them and try to ascertain where they are, if they've obtained those consultants and who they are, and also where they are as far as the time schedules. And they also mentioned about opening a storefront on Main Street. I think that's good. I think if they could do that, I think people could go in and talk and whatnot. I think it has to be fully accessible, but I haven't seen that. I don't know where it is, so I would like Rick to write a letter to him, ascertaining those questions, and I'd like to have this back to us by Wednesday, May 1st, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Bill?
No, I think that's a great idea, and I would add to that if we could, in the interim between now and, the second week of June, third week of June, because that would be the 6th month.
6 weeks.
6 weeks, thank you. 6 weeks feel like months sometimes when we're talking about casinos. But Dino makes a great point, not to just walk away and not have intermediate updates.
Officialness.
What's
that word again?
In
Only
Dino's-
Paul Minor can say
in
that.
Dino's
word.
officialness in his capacity, I would go further to say, why don't we go ahead and ask for a week, updates every 2 weeks?
Yeah,
Fine.
Start with Dino's request,
I don't have a problem.
Sure.
just to see where they are.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the ball's in their court. I mean, I have no desire to chase these folks.
Nope.
If they're serious developers, if it's
Yeah.
a serious project, the work will speak for itself, so, I mean, but I'm certainly not gonna, oppose this. I have no problem with this. Send it off to them and see. But I
Yeah,
don't expect to chase these guys.
because I think at the last
It's not
meeting,
gonna happen.
we were all serious, and the thing is, it has to be done right, and it has to be done comprehensively and overturning every stone possible. If they're not gonna do that, then it's a different story, but I think we have to, let them know that we're serious, that when we talked a couple of weeks ago, we all had, prudent points and all, the most important topics to talk about, so they just have to understand, we're serious, we know how to get things done, and they have to do it our way.
And along those lines, I haven't heard to this date whether our attorneys have received the funding, have physically received the funding from,
I think Jerry has information. I haven't asked him recently, but I think I don't know, we can get an update from Jerry and all that.
that was,
I don't know.
that was the last thing that was supposed to have happened.
There were some funds that were released, yes, last
Do
week.
we know how much, what that number is?
Oh, the money that we
The
were
money that
holding.
was in the account, plus
So
the
money
interest,
that we
that's
were holding,
it.
that's
65,
60
66,000.
65,000. So
Much,
interest.
much less than is in that agreement.
So that got
Correct.
transferred, yeah.
That did get transferred.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's part of the information we could try to obtain
Absolutely.
also,
See where
sure.
they're at, sure.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure. But, you know.
So,
like I said,
Okay.
to
Thanks,
date,
Mr.
to
Chairman.
date, we haven't received the funds that were committed in that agreement.
No, we have not, not to
Okay,
my
that's
knowledge.
important. I'd like to get updates on those as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, anything else under old business?
No, Mr. Chairman.
No?
No, nothing.
Okay. Moving on to new business, we have a request from the Milford Performing Arts Center for a wine and beer license for Saturday, April 27th, between the hours of 6 PM and 11 PM for a fundraising entertainment event.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made and seconded?
Second.
Seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. We also received a request from the Girl Scouts Central and Western Mass for a permit for a yard sale on the East Main Street municipal parking lot across from Sacred Heart for Saturday, May 18th, for the Milford Girl Scout troops to have a yard sale to raise money for their troop sponsored activities.
Motion,
Second.
Brian.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous. And Rick gave us a update on the town engineer's position. Rick, do you want to just summarize that for us?
Yes, as you know, you previously voted to appoint Bonnie Maureen Reese to the position of town engineer, effective April 29th, subject to a salary negotiation. I have now met with her. We have worked out an agreeable salary. There was a need to appear before the Personnel Board, which I did on Saturday, April 13th, for her approval. The approval was made at grade 6, step 4, fiscal year 13 salary schedule. The Personnel Board voted unanimously to approve the request. Attached, I believe, is a letter from the chairman along with their vote. And as we expressed earlier, in talking about this position, it's an important position. We feel we have the right person, and it's apparent to us, Mike Santora, Lou Solazzi, and myself, that she is the right person, and I think we just need you to formally say that you will now formally appoint her, as she is going to start a week from today.
Is there a motion?
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made. Is there a second?
So I just want to make sure I understand the parameters. We're talking about the salary of $84,638.
That's
We're
correct.
talking about effective April 29th. And I'm guessing that there's adjustment required to the, no, there wouldn't be, I'm sorry. I was thinking there would be adjustment required to the budget, but we walk into next year's budget with Mike's salary, which is higher than.
Yeah, and we have
So we're okay.
dealt with that.
Both of
The
the-
transition issue we have dealt with, yes.
Yeah, the transition for the town engineer and the town administrator has been handled by Zach and the finance committee.
Okay.
For both this fiscal year, and then, of course, going into next fiscal year, the new numbers are plugged
And
in.
we had worked that out even,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, but I was more concerned about this fiscal year, for both of those positions, and we're all set on that.
We are.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've seconded.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. And then at some point, I suppose, we can, schedule her to come down before the board.
Absolutely.
To meet her, and she can talk about things, so folks can see her at home and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, we have a request from the building commissioner, John Erickson. John's here. John, why don't you come on up? And John has basically outlined the increased level of activity in the Department of Inspections and has requested that we increase the hours of the local building inspector from the current 19-hour work week to a 25-hour work week. And then you've listed just the increases in the number of permits and certificates from 2008. At the time, there were 782, and up to 2011, it went to 830. So, John, why don't you summarize this for us while you're here?
Yeah, I look back at the number of permits and certificates issued over the last 5 years. 2012, the permits jumped up to 1,067. which was a 45% increase over the previous four-year average, as well as a 22% increase, I believe, over the previous four-year high. So the activity is just much higher at the Department of Inspections than it has been in recent years. With that said, I thought that increasing the staffing of at least our local inspector from 19 hours a week, which is 4 hours a day and 3 hours on Friday, up to 5 hours a day would just be, give us increasing returns on our staffing.
Okay, questions? Dean?
John, the 19 hours, the person already gets insurance, or no?
No, he doesn't.
It's not, what is it, 20 hours?
It's 20 hours, I believe,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
20
Yeah,
hours.
the rest of the part-time inspectors in there,
Yeah.
Plumbing and electrical,
Yeah,
they receive benefits at 20 hours.
yeah. No, I mean, looking at this, I know we've talked in the past, even your predecessor, Mr. DeLuca said, you know, a few years ago that we should probably look at that at some point, and I agree with the justification. You know, there's definitely a certain, there's a need. You look at the amount of money being collected, 6% increase, and, you know, I think like, stuff like this, it may cost a little bit more, but I think the benefit would be to the department, to the people of Milford, all the things that are done by our department makes the entire community, all the neighborhoods, and all the inspections, I think, a better place, and so I would be in favor of your recommendation.
Thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, John, any sense of what's driving, so what's driving the permitting? We don't have a building boom going on in Milford, right? So-
We don't have a building boom, but the numbers are really up from years past. I want to say 2012, we maybe did 19 permits for, you know, new one or two family houses or PRD units. We're probably over that already. I didn't break down the numbers that detailed. People are buying, renovating houses.
That's okay, your gut feel, I mean, what's
the
driving
activity-
the permits?
Everything. It's a combination of, again, the new housing, the commercial activity is up between the water company, Cornerstone, Milford Hospital's had some small projects. They have a larger one, you know, possibly upcoming, the Blair House. And just, I think people are spending money that they may have been afraid to in the past on roofs, siding, decks, windows, which just generates a lot of volume. I mean, that's our highest category, far and away, in terms of number of permits, which is roof siding,
Roof sidings, decks?
roof siding and windows.
Okay, windows. And the reason why I ask is when I look at, we're looking at 2012, and we're looking at 1,067 permits. When I look at '08, then in subsequent years, '09 and 2010 were actually down from '08. And so I'm trying to determine as to what extent do we expect this to be sustained? To what extent do we expect this to be a blip? Is there anything abnormal driving it? Are the inspections driving these permits?
I don't think it's any one specific thing driving them.
Okay.
I really don't have the answer as to what's driving them, but
Because that's significant, as you pointed out, it's 45% increase from the previous year, so. And it's not being, the fees collected aren't linear, right? It's not proportional.
no, and that's something we may want to assess in the future. The fees have only increased by 6%.
So we've got a 45% increase offset by a 6% increase in fees that we've, so we're working harder for less.
Yes,
That's fine.
and, you know, from what I hear from people that come across the counter, is that our fee schedule is much lower than surrounding
Okay.
towns.
There may be reasons why we want to do that. It's just, I'm not challenging you or testing you as much as I just wanted to see if I could understand it, to see what might be driving it. Other members have spoken, or at least one has spoken in favor of the addition that you're requesting. But what I don't see here is how much, what the cost associated with that is.
The cost associated would be, for fiscal 14, an additional $7,055 in salary.
And it's over a base of what?
That, those numbers, Goes roughly from 22,000 to 29,000.
Okay, so 22,000 to 29,000. And do you know if that calculates benefits?
That does not calculate benefits.
All right, so, and that's another suggestion that, Rick, I would look, as we add headcount or make changes in hours, that we not only consider what the rate of pay differential is, but what somebody's specifically requesting may be driving an additional burden beyond just the salary. And so somehow we summarize that, so we make the request so that people do it, they draw a form, and then know what to have prepared for this board. Or for the FinCom, for that matter. They ought to know when they're going in front of the FinCom or anybody else what they're asking. So at a salary level, it's $7,000 difference. And then there's the additional burden of healthcare
Yes.
that's put on that. And if I'm not mistaken, I thought that was like 13,000 at a base, but I'm not sure. Somebody had given us that number once, and I
For
don't.
family plan? 14,000.
14. So if this
Family
were,
plan, I don't know if it's individual, I don't know if this person's
Yeah.
individual. Does this person want health care, is that?
This person would want health care, yes.
Okay, family plan?
Family plan.
Then that's your number.
so we're looking at about, we're talking about a budget driver of about $21,000.
Given that it's 14,000 for health insurance, which I mean, I could have guessed, but in rough numbers, but yes.
Okay.
I would just, I guess, point out that according to our state inspectors, the building department is supposed to, or is allowed to charge what it takes, charge for fees what it takes to operate that department. Years ago, they used to actually audit the departments. So, if this is approved, and, maybe we should then assess the fee schedule to help offset that additional burden.
I think you're going to be asked that question, because my guess is that you're going to be looking to adjust your FY14 budget that's already submitted.
Yes, I would definitely need to do that.
All right, so that would be a change to what's been submitted to the FinCom,
Yes.
and that'll be the first question that comes up. What types of things are we looking at from the revenue side to offset the additional cost in the building inspection? And so it's, hey, look, you've got the numbers. It's driving additional labor. If you don't have the existing labor within the department, and I believe you that you don't, then there's no question about supporting your request. Now the question is, how do we come up with the revenue? And you'll be asked that question, and we ought to have it. We ought to know that. So if you could get us information pretty quick, maybe worthwhile looking at fee schedules. Okay. So now that I have an understanding of how much the money is that it's actually asking to approve, because it's as much money as a body or additional hours, then we know what the impact is on the budget. I can support it, but we do have to look at fees. So that's my comments, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thanks. John, is this going to help you with the work that your department does in terms of the neighborhood task force and all of that type of stuff?
Oh, absolutely. It's gonna help us. It's gonna help us all around. It'll free me up to do more of the zoning issues.
Okay.
And, where Tim can take care of more of the building issues.
Well, that's kind of what I thought was driving this. I mean, I see, where the permits and certificates have come up, but, in the last few years, particularly with the pass of the bylaw that we had in terms of the housing limitations, I know that, your office has become much more active and busy doing things that, we never really asked the building department to do. So, I certainly understand the request to increase the number of man-hours to allow this other work to be done. So I support it. I mean, I think that, we've had some discussions with the town accountant and the town treasurer. To me, funding, ought not to be an issue. So, I think we're, you should be all set on this. So I'll take a motion.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made, seconded?
Yeah, I'll second it, just second to say funding is an issue,
Understood.
as with anything, as with our home or here.
Well, I mean, when I say it's not an issue, I say that, you know, there are sufficient funds in the town's disposal to handle this position for the next upcoming budget. That's what I mean.
Okay, all right, yeah.
So,
Right,
let
can I
me,
ask-
let me clarify that then, you know, I mean, it's not an issue that's gonna prevent it from occurring, let me put it that
can I
way.
just have a follow-up?
Sure, yeah.
John, on the inspections and neighborhoods and all that, I think it's been a couple of years now, a year and a half, whatever.
Yes.
And I think
Yeah.
that, you know, I think we all see the benefits, the good things that are happening, working with the landlords and all that, especially the absentee landlords. That's gonna continue, because we said that
That's-
would be a priority to
That's
all.
absolutely going to
Okay.
continue, and it will remain a priority. And some of those situations really eat up our office hours.
Sure.
You know, you can spend
Yeah.
several hours on, you know, some of the more difficult cases.
What do we do, those every couple of weeks?
We go out every week.
Every week, okay.
Every Wednesday.
And I know, I'm sure your office has received many calls, and the board members, I think when the neighbors, I think the good way of judging that is how the neighbors look at something, you know. People have lived in a particular neighborhood for a long time, there's a house that becomes blighted, whatever reason, and then all of a sudden, you go in, work with the landlord, and especially the landlords who live out of town, and I think there's tremendous improvement, so I think everyone is happy, the neighborhood is changed for the better, and I think it just makes the whole community area better, so I just think we have to, you know, continue to do that, and whatever help you need, you know, talk to Attorney Valani, and he'll certainly talk to us, but I think that's been a good task force going out.
Thank you.
So motion made and seconded, all those in favor, any opposed? That's unanimous. And while I have you here, John, not to put you on the spot, but let me put you on the spot. The house on Water Street that suffered the horrific fire, what's the status on that project? Do you have any knowledge on that?
The house has been properly boarded up. The general contractor is now working with the insurance company to obtain the funds to knock it down. And like most of these fire damaged structures, the insurance company wants to say the foundation is salvageable, and the general contractor needs to prove that it's not. I mean, in this case, it's an old stone foundation that, in my past experience, I've never found a structural engineer that will certify it. It doesn't meet today's code, so I can't say that it's okay. So that's the sort of struggle of wills that goes on these.
Okay, all right, so just keep us posted on that, because, you know, that's obviously something that we'd like to see accelerate, because it's a pretty horrible mess right now there on Water Street.
Yeah, it is a horrible mess. It was kind of an interesting side note that was one of the homes that we required them put in a second means of egress that didn't have one previous to the task force walking around.
So save lives probably, right?
They didn't use that particular egress. They went down the one they've used for a number of years, but it kind of drove home the point of, you know, just how important some of these.
Fires happen.
These
Absolutely.
situations are,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. The work you're doing with that neighborhood task force is invaluable. So, you know, the board understands that, and we really appreciate everything that's being done. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
Johnny.
Dean, do you have any new business?
Mr. Chairman, I think last October, we passed over an article for the handicap fishing platform at Louisa Lake, so we passed it over, and I convened a subcommittee of the town engineer, building commissioner, highway surveyor, Mike Nicholson, and we're pretty close to coming up with a plan. Matter of fact, we'll be coming to the board, and basically, I think we've come up with a viable plan for a handicap fishing platform at Louisa Lake that'll be fully accessible, and I think 99% will be done through private donations, and a little bit through in-kind contributions from these individuals. I think, you know, Scotty loves to drive that big machine, and some of the other people, so, no, it was they've worked very hard. They're very fortunate to have all these people, and like I said, with the private donation, and hopefully they'll be able to come in 2 or 3 weeks, and the project should be completed by end of June, beginning of July.
Great.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for your work on that.
Yeah, thanks.
Bill?
No, it's great news. I can see and envision not only those that are handicapped, but those maybe with young children who don't want to get too close to the water,
Sure.
also using it. So, there's a lot of benefit to a lot of different
Yeah.
people. And it's the right type of thing. Thank you, Dino, for putting in that time.
No,
Do that.
thank you for all your support and also all these people, but that should be pretty nice for the town, once
Yeah.
it's done, you know?
Yeah, no, that whole area really is,
Oh,
kind of the
sure.
entranceway to the bike trail
Yeah.
into the town forest. It's just a real centerpiece for the recreation of this town.
Yeah,
So I think that'll be
absolutely.
a nice addition to it. Good, thank you. Bill, any new business?
No new business, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, under correspondence, we have the correspondence that we looked at our last meeting from the Council on Aging. And of course, they have recommended that we name the senior center on behalf of Ruth Ann Bleakney, who unfortunately has since passed away. So I want to bring this to the board's attention again to try to take some action on this.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. We received a report from the police chief regarding a situation at the Hoboken Citizens Club, I believe on April 5th. If it's okay with the board, I would ask the town administrator to advise the Hoboken Club of a hearing to consider revoking, suspending, or otherwise modifying the license as a result of this activity.
Mr. Chairman, I think this board has always been very fair. I think we spent a lot of time on this over the past many years with different, and I think I make a motion that we do that, and then we'll do its best. But I think we've always been consistent and fair, so like I said, make a motion towards your request.
Okay. Is there a second?
There is, with some discussion. I think part of the process stems from not one I would necessarily defend, but one that this board understands to have been true for a lot of years, that private clubs have engaged in this type of entertainment, if you will. And I think one of the things that I'm hoping that we get out of this is an opportunity to change a culture and educate people that the requirements of the license are such that those days are behind us. And hopefully that hearing does that. But as Dino said, this board has been fair in the past, and we look at each individual instance uniquely, and so.
Okay,
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded, and I would ask that we schedule the hearing for our next meeting, May 6th. Any further discussion?
New chairman can run the meeting then. That'd be a perfect way to start off.
I'm looking forward to this topic being the first.
Okay, I'm not gonna make any comment. Okay, we got, all in favor, any opposed, that's unanimous, so we'll send the notice, so you can, Rick, touch base with Jerry and,
Yes.
and give you the notice to send out. Unfortunately, we've done it before. For correspondence, we received an update from the tax collector regarding the payments on the license holders that were behind, and I guess the only question I had was on the Tyco Casanova Market.
Right.
Apparently, the tax collector called the license holder because payments had stopped, and suggested that he write a new letter of intent on paying taxes for this fiscal year, and said that he was told by the selectman's office that that would not be necessary. I'm not real sure, what happened on that, but, that's not my feeling. And I think that we ought to contact this individual and, see what's got to be done to start getting caught up on this year's taxes. And the other one is the car wash. Maybe they're having some financial problems. Looks like Mr. Chesky is behind on his payments, and I think Pins looks like they've been fairly current. But, we're gonna have to deal with this again come the fall, and that comes faster than you think. So I'd really like to get the message to these people to, get caught up, and if a new agreement needs to be made, then they need to suggest that for us to act upon. I don't know. Dean, do you have any questions or comments?
No, Brian, I had it marked too on the Tyco. I don't know what that means. Whenever we do entertain these types of things, we're doing it to help businesses or doing it to help them. We work together with the tax collector in coming up with the agreements. Everybody's on board, and I just think that when there's a problem, they should, direct their concerns to our board promptly and not let it go on. So I think, like you said, either we handle it now or handle it later. I think it's better to handle it now and try to get these things straightened out.
Yeah. Bill?
Yeah, I think each one have struggled in their own way. We can start with Friendly Car Wash, look at insufficient funds, a check returned, and go through the rest and it looks like Cafe Sorrento is 1 month behind. It looks like Tyco is not, Casanova Mark is not paid any. And then it looks like there's some varying success with Pins. So, I agree with you. It's going to come up soon enough, and I'm going to address it, so.
Okay, so let's ask Rick to make contact with these license holders, and, if a new agreement needs to be reached, for example, for Tyco, where no payments have been made, then one needs to be suggested. And then Sorrento, actually, probably 2 months behind, but certainly 1 month, and also with the Friendly Car Wash. So if you could reach out to these businesses and see what can be done to get them back on track on these back taxes. We also have minutes from Finance Committee meetings. We have correspondence from the Blackstone Valley Vogue School. They're apparently not going forward at this point on their borrowing article. We received notice of decertification of biomeasure from the state. We received a request from John Seaver to be appointed as a member to the Armory Renovation Committee, which I think would be quite fitting, as the opening that we have on the committee is due to the passing of his brother Paul, who was such a great advocate for the youth center.
Motion, you want a motion?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? That's unanimous. Please notify Mr. Seaver that we
Yes, sir.
received correspondence from the town of Dudley, which is now dated and not something that I really wanted to deal with. Milford Police Memorial is going to be Sunday, May 5th at 9 o'clock. Certainly that's a great event, and we'll all make it a point to be there for that. Those are the only items that I have. Is there anything else, Dean, that you want to talk about?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Bill, I received a couple of calls from residents. They were inquiring about why we're still in stage 3 of the water ban. And so I know this office, I know Attorney Valani did contact David Condrey, and I guess he says that the water level at Echo Lake is still 3 to 4 feet being topped off. The water company's in process of flushing, so they're trying to conserve, and he did state that the level is now starting to recharge, and he's hopeful that the water level will be able to be dropped to another level in early June. So I know some people call the office concerning about that,
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's good,
Right,
thank
Rick,
you.
did I miss anything on that?
No, you did not.
You a water specialist too? You're able to provide that?
Anything else, Dean?
No, that's all.
It comes with being chief bottle washer. I don't have anything.
The
Mr.
official
Chairman.
vote. Okay, I too have nothing. We do have an executive session It is for the Fire Association collective bargaining. We will not be
Motion, Mr.
returning
Chairman.
to open session. Motion made and seconded to go into executive session. Roll call vote.
Aye.
Dean?
Aye.
Bill? I too vote in the affirmative. And as stated, we will not be returning to open session. So thank you. And